Hello and good morning everyone. Thank you for joining Jade Global today for the webinar on how to reduce mergers and acquisition risk with a solid IT game plan. My name is Sangeeta Jash and I am the Marketing Manager at Jade Global and also your moderator today for this webinar. So I would like to tell you a little bit about our company. Jade Global is an Oracle Platinum partner and is a leading information technology services and solutions provider. We deliver the right combination of business knowledge, product and technical expertise, project management and flexible delivery models to every engagement to ensure every client's long-term growth and success in business. For more information, please visit our website www.jadeglobal.com. Now I would like to introduce Raja Shekhar. Raja is a Senior Director and leads the Enterprise Resource Planning Group at Jade Global. He is a certified project management professional with project planning and implementation experience mostly in Oracle applications. I will hand it over to Raja now, who will review the agenda and continue with the presentation. Over to you, Raja.
Oh, great. Thanks, Sangeeta, and good morning, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today to talk about mergers and acquisitions. And this is one of my favorite topics, and with the economy coming back to growth kind of mode, you can see more and more M&A activities going on. So before I go further, let me quickly add a couple of more points to my introduction. As Sangeeta mentioned, I'm responsible for enterprise applications line of business at Jade Global, and I have about 15 years of experience in overseeing and also have a hands-on experience in different kind of projects, including some advisory projects, implementations, integrations, data warehousing, upgrades, development, and of course M&A kind of initiatives. And I've worked across a large spectrum of clients, including some companies like GE, Motorola, and also some SMBs such as VMware, Riverbed, Advent, Diligence, Twitter, and so on. All right, so let's get on to the topic. So I'm going to go a little slow so that screen refresh can get some time for it. Okay, so here is a quick picture about wireless industry. You can see that over the period of last couple of decades, mergers have become a part of life for that industry. So ultimately, M&As are pretty major initiatives where one organization or group of organizations together have to combine or transform or both their cultures, processes and systems to really get a better value of the combined entity. So a lot of organizations like these, especially as you see four key players in wireless, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T and T-Mobile, have done so many acquisitions over the last few years. So they really run pretty well-oiled M&As, and they have teams and processes pretty much well dedicated to run those kind of projects. But for smaller size companies, they will really need to evaluate their needs and the number of M&As they would run before committing for some of the large M&A investments which other guys have done. So it is going to be a little tricky for SMB kind of businesses. All right, so before I go to the agenda, so this is what we are planning to cover. The whole M&A is driven by really business objectives. So it is absolutely important to, before we start talking about the IT game plan, to understand what business objectives really drive the specific acquisition. So IT has to be fully aligned with those objectives. So we'll talk about IT game plan from there on. And then we move on to Jade Global's M&A services, which we have perfected over last few years. And then we'll cover a case study of a very successful acquisition and tell you why it is so successful when we get there. And towards the last, I'll open up a questionnaire. So together, I'm going to keep this session to about 30-35 minutes so we can have some questions towards the end. And as you get some questions, please type in there in the chat window so that we can address it as soon as we are done with this session. All right, so let's move on. Business objectives for M&As, first thing. Okay, so when I was trying to prepare for this webinar, I was really curious to check some numbers. So I wanted to check and get some insights about how big is this market. And when I really looked at, and the data is spread across multiple sources, but it really opened my eyes, and I couldn't believe it that this market is really such huge. And more importantly, it seems like consistent from year on year, and it's consistently high year on year. That is pretty interesting to me. So let's go and look at the conclusion of these numbers, how that really represent. So here's a summary. There are 20,000 M&A deals per year, and this has a variation about 5 to 10,000 between year on year. And then the second fact, which is also very interesting, is the deal value is about $2 trillion US. So that's really huge. The last one is kind of surprising to me, the most surprising to me, which is 70 to 90% of the M&As are failed. And this is not just coming out from one source. This has been spread across multiple sources when I try to research this. So it is absolutely imperative to approach M&A deals in a very systematic and proven processes, now that we know that there are such a big failure rate. And we have to have a mindset of continuous optimization of this process as we go forward for future deals. So now, before exploring the IT game plan, let's make sure we have a good understanding about reasons for acquisition. And I've listed some of the main reasons here. So once a target company is identified, and as they start working towards the integration, it is important to understand these objectives so that plans can be fully aligned to address these business objectives as we move forward. For example, if the objective is to gain the access of new markets, then it is imperative to implement global systems which could support various geographies, various countries, currencies, and different tax regimes, and so on. Or if you want to access, the purpose of the acquisition is to gain additional distribution channels, then it would be more likely to build or migrate to certain IT systems which could support distribution model of the business. Okay, so let's start with IT game plan. So M&A activities consist of various things, including facilities, logistics, help desk, email, network, etc. But for today's discussion, we'll be talking about business applications here, like CRM, ERP, finance, reporting systems, and so on. So just to make sure we are in the right context. So before I go deep into game plan, let's talk about key challenges which IT really face in actually merging or consolidating two entities. So I've categorized these challenges into 5 different sections. The first one is business process, where legal structure, a new organization structure, business process challenges, chart of account disparity, or data archival strategies are kind of challenges you would see. Then there is a second group of challenges, which is master data. This is critical to establish a good system of truth and governance process, especially for your key data points like products, customers, suppliers, employees, and so on. And it is difficult to identify the owners of this data and processes to convert and maintain it to provide the kind of analytics or intelligence you are looking for. And in the same process, you will also need to have full data integrity in the consolidated systems. That's pretty much a big challenge when you're trying to bring in data from multiple systems. Then third one is implementation. The final technology stack you want to support could be a big challenge because both the companies can have different tech stacks. Then there is a huge data migration effort in the implementation process. There could be huge integration challenges when you have to decommission some of the old systems and bring in the new systems. Then there is licensing challenges will come up, especially when this in this kind of era where you have a lot of subscription-based licenses and also perpetual licenses all in one. And the fourth one is project and program management. So M&A brings a lot of uncertainty for employees and also your other external stakeholders like suppliers and customers. So it is a huge cultural changes, and there are a lot of communication concerns which are required and needs to be really well planned to address those. And then last but not least, on user training, which is pretty critical as we change the systems and decommission some of the old systems. And the fifth one is reporting and compliance. So with new org structure, it is important to comply with the tax structures, reporting, user management, and basically audit considerations when we provision users across multiple systems. Okay, so let's talk about the elements of IT game plan. Maybe I skipped one slide. Let's go back. Here it is. So before I go to detailed IT game plan, so let's talk about the expectations which business really has on IT. And I'm sure it will resonate with most of you who are playing the role of IT leaders already. Maybe managers or business analysts or directors and CIOs. The first and foremost business expects IT in the whole M&A process is to explicitly or implicitly be involved and advise them. Most often IT systems are expected to be consolidated and they are expected to scale up to run a larger size organization of the combined entity without much hiccups, and with sometimes with IT folks will always say that doesn't make sense. They will also look for IT to provide tools and analytics to enable cross-selling and identifying opportunities to provide economy of scale, reduction of cost by establishing shared centers across various geographies. And they also look for IT to advise on business processes and change management. So ultimately, for all future acquisitions, it is important to make the job for the business and the whole organization to complete the M&As pretty smooth and effective way. So I believe IT plays a critical role right from the pre-merger to post-merger phases, and to achieve the business objectives of any M&A activity. In order to overcome the challenges and deliver on objectives, this four-step approach I found very essential for all companies to pretty much adapt and use them as their M&A framework. The first one is strategy, Second one is due diligence, execute, and optimize. So we'll go and look at each of them closely now. First, strategy. So under this tab, you will clearly outline the business objectives towards an acquisition. So you would look to understand IT organization cultures and capabilities of both the companies. This is a perfect time to determine, to see, are you really looking to consolidate, or using this opportunity to transform, or you're going to combine two businesses. So each of these three approaches have different end state. So let's look at consolidation. So consolidation is where a bigger organization would eventually bring in the smaller organization within their own set of systems, which is relatively easier, and I think as you set up the right expectations, can be done comparatively quicker and with less pain. Now, transform and combination option are the two other approaches for the M&A, where you could use that opportunity to really transform your businesses, business processes, and IT systems across cross-functional way. And under this process, there will be huge cultural change for both organizations. But since it is both, so it will be even more critical for us to manage that kind of change. So it is very important to establish which path you want to take, and that is going to drive your end state. And it's absolutely essential to have an end state in mind, even though it might not be perfect in the first iteration, as it will really help you in the next set of due diligence process. So next step is due diligence. So in the due diligence, it is kind of a phase where you would lay the groundwork for building the rest of the execution phase. Personally, I have seen companies struggling to get this right. Often, communication is very late. So IT is brought in not in the due diligence, but after or middle of the due diligence phase, and decisions are already been made or are continuously being made in silos, resulting in wrong assumptions, and ultimately your plans will pretty much not align correctly. Whereas this needs a thorough exercise where a strong team consisting of business and IT teams will require to work very closely. They'll need to put together pretty much everything on the table, right from business processes, applications, security, legal considerations, tax considerations, and also application infrastructure. And also, knowledge base is a very strong point here. With the acquisition coming in, there is a tendency for a lot of people to leave, and that takes the knowledge base away. And a lot of companies, especially in small size companies, they will not see a great set of documentation. So it is important to have a right communication right from the beginning and establish clear expectations, so we can retain the best talent, which can help easy the job of integrations, and that is kind of very critical for any M&A. And also during this process, you'll need to conduct certain workshops or joint discussions on critical aspects such as new legal structure or chart of accounts or business process mapping or re-engineering if required. Also in this process, team will need to really determine the risks and opportunities for improvements. And some of the opportunities of improvement are not necessarily that it is going to really change a whole lot, but there are certain systems as you come across in any M&A. There could be systems where you have to decommission, there are systems where you can consolidate, but systems you have to also clean up. So it is important to come out with a clear decommissioning plan, a data migration strategy, a final application infrastructure plan, and business process strategies, and identify the global owners, and clearly call out the support plan. This is some of the having a good support plan is one of those things which is generally brought in pretty late in the game. And I've seen instances where M&A project is complete and nobody knows how to support this platform going forward. So it is important to lay a really pragmatic schedule towards the end of this phase and have everyone really commit to this plan. Which is also kind of challenging because there are so many moving parts and there are different entities involved. So let's move on to the next phase, which is execution. The strategy and due diligence will provide the right direction for the project team or overall program. However, as you all know, devil is in the details. And here the project plan will really need to be called out and project team will really run the project. So first and foremost here is strong leadership. It's absolutely crucial to help team focus and leadership to step in and remove the roadblocks. However, the leadership style will largely depend upon kind of M&A approach you have taken. So for example, if you're taking a transformation or combination approach, it will require a different kind of mindset where you would need to have much more collaborative, much more democratic, and have consensus building as a primary way of solving the problems. Whereas in consolidation, it is a little different, where pretty much acquiring companies, culture, and systems becomes the final choice of platforms. So it is important to set that message clear and set up the expectations with the team so we don't get unnecessary heartburns towards the later part of the project, and integration becomes relatively easier. The execution plan needs to be based on the prioritized list of tasks. As a project goes through, there are multiple things which will be thrown at the team. So it is important to make sure we have a really clean, agreed project list. Not everything has to be done on day one. So you may want to really talk about HR and financial consolidation first to start, make sure the combined entity can start reporting, followed by other divisions where where it takes more time to integrate. So during this time, team will require to really focus on documentation, which will really serve them well, especially for the future acquisition and integration projects. And lastly, a good and strong communication is absolutely crucial in these projects. Now, so not only there will be a lot of emotional and sentiments which will be in the play, but also there will be external stakeholders like customers and suppliers, which needs to be communicated, because after the acquisition is complete, you are dealing with the combined entity, and customers need to be, for the customers, this has to be really seamless. So it is important to have a good communication strategy to address the needs of both internal and external set of stakeholders. So as we finish this project, it is crucial to keep an eye towards the end state. So the systems, processes, and designs need to be flexible enough to add additional acquisitions with far lesser challenges as we do additional acquisitions. So generally, if you have tier 1 applications like Oracle EBS or SAP, the applications are architected in such a way that M&As are not too difficult. They are modular in nature. Data is segregated by each legal entity, by operating unit. So it is relatively much easier to both carve out or bring in additional organizations within the set of applications. But it could be challenging if you have some tier 2 applications which may have challenges scaling up. So it is very crucial to keep that in mind if you are trying to do more and more M&As, to identify the right system which could grow along with your needs. So this is where I'm going to talk about Jade Global's M&A Services and Capabilities. So over the last 3 years, we have completed over 50 plus M&A projects of various natures. In the process, we have developed and fine-tuned a wide array of services to help customers in acquisition integrations or divestitures. And we have helped customers with assessments, roadmap, and roadmap constructions, where we help customers to fully review the IT footprint and business processes to provide recommendations on the right approach, both in the schedule and plan and sustainability point of view. Also, we have helped customers in cases of spin-offs, where there is a process of asset separations, especially for IT, which could be sometimes tricky to carve out transactions and configurations of related spin-off. In some areas, we help customers to do business process engineering, chart of account restructuring, and we kind of engage in data migration projects, and some cases acquisitions bring in new modules, new applications to be rolled out. And also, last but not the least, change management, where we have established some assets which we were able to help customers with. And we have worked in different kind of IT footprints, both in cloud and cloud platforms like Salesforce.com, ServiceNow, and Oracle Cloud lately, and some of the on-premise applications as well, like Oracle EBS, Hyperion, BI, and various kind of custom applications in various platforms, .NET, some Microsoft technologies or Java technologies, and so on. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay. So we come with a complete and proven M&A framework, as we described earlier. So most of the strategy and due diligence phase is pretty much executed already in some of the leading industry or leading companies. So this is pretty much adapted from well-established processes up there. And we bring in this process with a set of leading industry experts to provide the right guidance for the companies. And this helps our customers, especially to get their direction right before they start the execution. And I've seen companies benefiting a lot through these advisors. Okay, so let me talk about a few important aspects of the assets over the period of time which we created. Let's start with the first one. This is especially applicable for those who are with Oracle EBS. So we have a nice customization assessment tool. The first thing which people worry about IT consolidation is what happens to our customizations. And this tool helps mitigate that risk by identifying all the customizations and the impact they cause by moving from either one version to another version, or making sure all the customizations are brought in from the target to the source system, and source to the target system, and have adequate time provided for testing. There could be opportunities to retire some of the customizations which are no longer required, which are obsolete in nature, and there are opportunities to standardize on those opportunities or those customizations, especially to make sure they can be supported during their upgrade cycles. Then this is another interesting aspect we have developed over the period of time, which is called Data Conversion Accelerator. So it is an interesting tool. One of the major tasks in all the M&A projects are data conversions or data migrations. So right from strategy to design to development, there's a lot of work involved there. And this tool has sets of templates for almost all kind of data entities you would potentially require to convert, such as customers, suppliers, products, employees, sales orders, purchase orders, invoices, and so on. And it has been built with the core idea that business users should actually own the data and should be able to bring in the data from source system to target system with the least amount of IT help. So this really reduces the overall cycle for any M&A project pretty drastically. So next is also an interesting tool, which is, we call it as Setup Evaluator. What it does is it catches the mistakes especially when your M&As, there are a lot of configurations has to be done from one instance to another instance, right from development to test to another test, and then another test to production, and after production you do post-production releases. So during this process, there is a lot of chances of making errors, which could be very costly, which could take a lot of time, cycle time to test and resolve. So this tool's job is to really identify those mistakes and tell the team what they have to do to take care of that. So when the test cycles happen, it can really reduce all the possibilities of configuration issues, and its use is much more prominent, especially in the production, where you can prevent a lot of production issues because of the right configurations on the day one. And this is next one is testing framework. I think automated testing, as needless to say, is pretty much required for every organization. But what we have done, which is pretty unique, so especially if you are a thick client-based application like Oracle EBS or SAP, the lot of free or open source test automation software like Selenium doesn't work. So what Jade has done is has built a framework which could work with even the thick client applications like Oracle EBS and SAP or OBI in that sense, which not only works with their web version of the applications, but also works with the thick client version of the applications, and complete the whole cycle of testing in a fully automated way, where it integrates with your bug tracking or defect tracking tool. So imagine this: when you initiate the testing, overnight this test software will run and will come back in the next day and produce test results for you, and also logs all the issues, all the failures or defects right in your own bug tracking tool. And the consultants or IT people who come and have to resolve the issues, they don't have to look anywhere. They can just get started working and resolving the issues and ensure that it is ready for the next cycle. So this is a huge improvement, and the underlying fact here is it is open source and there is no licensing involved, which is, I think, pretty unique, and I didn't see any other provider having this kind of solution. The last but not the least is Center of Excellence. Having done so many projects, it's natural for us to have a good repository of artifacts which can be reused and brought into the customers for helping them. So right from M&A questionnaire, which is something we continuously enrich as we go and do more and more M&A projects, to various kind of project management methodologies, right from change management, testing, training, test cases, and we have a huge knowledge base of all these projects which we have done. So we don't have to repeat the mistakes which probably others have done over the period of time. So as we do more projects, the lessons learned are embedded in our process. So let's go and take a quick look at the case study. I'll go a little faster here. So this is a case study of an acquisition where a technology services company was acquired by high-tech manufacturer, and the company which is acquiring is pretty much double the size of the company which is being acquired. So it is a decent size of consolidation project. And here, the key business objectives behind this kind of acquisition was definitely to expand into the new markets and also develop some new service offerings because the company being acquired was primarily services company, and overall get the increased market share. And what we were engaged in was to provide the assessment services and help them integrate and implement some of the net new functionalities which are required to make sure these implementations go through. So quick look at the footprint. The target company, the acquisition, the company just being acquired had PeopleSoft, which was using HR and finance applications. Then they had custom project accounting software because being a services company that was needed. Then they had Salesforce.com and some custom licensing and provisioning software. Whereas the high-tech manufacturer had pretty big Oracle EBS footprint where order to cash, manufacturing, HR and finance, and project accounting was all done in Oracle EBS. And they had robust reporting solution in Oracle OBI. They also had Salesforce.com. They also had a much better and sophisticated licensing and provisioning solution. And they had also pretty well-established middleware solution. So end state for this company was to migrate PeopleSoft to Oracle EBS and retire and decommission PeopleSoft, consolidate Salesforce.com instances, implement Oracle's time and labor solution, consolidate license and provisioning capabilities because said they had a much more sophisticated licensing solution, though that is custom. That some of the capabilities they had were very good, and build a consolidated data warehouse. So this is what they were looking for to achieve towards the end. So over the project, this project was completed in 6 months period, and with various phases to follow. But primarily the major acquisition was done. The PeopleSoft was decommissioned as a result of 6 months execution cycle. And then this really helped to transform the piece of business, which is their services business, especially around project accounting and revenue recognition. Both the companies had revenue recognition challenges. So that was one of the things they wanted to really transform here. And with the reduced with the decommissioned systems, especially major ERP like PeopleSoft, there was a great opportunity to do asset consolidation, and which really reduced their overall operations cost and IT cost. And they had single ERP system, which was great for both the businesses. So it was it was a great opportunity to reduce the overall support cost and make sure that system can support both the models. And then we had the consolidated reporting framework because of the consolidated data warehouse solution. And it really built a great framework for future expansion. So it was a great and successful project, and the primary reason was the amount of due diligence and strategy time they allocated for this project. Okay, so let's go to quickly summarize before I wrap up. So M&A projects have different objectives, and it is imperative for the team to clearly understand those. And IT expectations are pretty high, and I think we have to understand that IT has to play advisory role in this whole engagement, and you cannot advise effectively if you are engaged late. So that has to be, IT has to be brought in early and be engaged right from the strategy discussions. And next one is IT roadmap needs to be fully aligned with the business objectives. As I said, there are various kinds of end state views you can have. So it will be important to make sure all business objectives are fully understood and aligned. And with so many failed M&As, and I'm sure you don't want yours, so you want to have a good framework which can be perfected over the future iterations, but you cannot start with a blank slate. You need to have something which has been proven. And I can't overemphasize the leadership. With so many moving parts, and strong leadership is absolutely required, which could remove roadblocks and move the team towards a common goal. And as you have seen in our M&A toolkit, there are so many tools available. It is better to deploy those tools like this to help you reduce the overall cost and effort in upgrade, because in reality you don't get that much time to really build all this right from the scratch for every M&A project. And last but not the least, different cultures makes it really hard for the people to work together. So it is crucial to have really effective communication strategy across which could address your employees, suppliers, and most importantly, your customers. So for them, this needs to be extremely transparent exercise.
And thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for attending the webinar. And a little more information about Jade Global before you leave. So Jade Global is headquartered at San Jose, California, with offices in New Jersey and India. If you have any questions or want to know more about our solutions and services, then please call us on the numbers displaying on your screen right now, or you can also email us at marketing@jadeglobal.com, or you can reach out to Raja directly at raja.shekhar@jadeglobal.com. That will be raja.sekhar@jadeglobal.com. We'll help out with any query you have, and thank you very much for attending this webinar, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day.
Right, thank you very much. Bye.